Welcome everyone to our conversation series around the topic of the future of work. I have the pleasure to welcome today Kalin Sanchez. The most important thing I want to talk about her is that she has 2 degrees from the University of Arizona, from the Ella College, including an MBA degree. I've known Kalin for a few years. When I was head of the MIS department, she was a very active member of the advisory board, and I've always enjoyed her strategic thinking and her contributions to that board. She has had a stellar career at IBM. She's currently vice president of IBM Global TSS Service Planning and Premium Support. She has done so well career-wise. She's also a very active, important leader of the community here in Tucson. So pleasure to welcome you, Kalin.
No, thank you very much. And it's always wonderful to work with you, Paulo, no doubt.
Thank you, appreciate that. So we are going to talk about the future work. And when I was thinking about how to approach it with Kalin, I was thinking, well, in IBM, I remember many years ago, she was telling a story that she was leading teams that spanned several time zones and virtual everywhere. So what many of us are experiencing now, it's been part of her career for a while. But I wanted to ask you, Kalin, what has changed? How do you see the evolution of workforce, workplace, given everything that's going on, the rapid changes brought by this digital revolution? So
very good. And so it's extremely imperative, being that I got off a crisis management team meeting, which I hold weekly, to talk about basically how we transition back to work so we can collaborate and innovate together once again. So just like Paulo said a moment ago, we in IBM, since I would say like early 2000s, have had the technology to work from home multiple days a week. So if you were microcoders, software developers, possibly architects, you could work from home and design future technologies for the benefit of IBM. Now, what's interesting about that is through the situation with the pandemic, we have found ourselves full-time at home. And there are a number of engineers and scientists and coders who want to work together again, see each other, collaborate with each other. And so right now, what we're doing from an IBM perspective is determining what's our approach with regards to returning to work. And what does that look like? What do the collaboration spaces look like? How do we respect masks? Also make sure that it is a volunteer approach based on employees before we proceed back to work. So I just want to give you, Paulo, some of that context, because it's something that we think about daily, because, you know, we want to see our friends and colleagues once again. And we want to build these great innovations together once again. We just want to do it in a smart and safe way.
Yeah, it's amazing. The other day I heard that people are saying, well, sending people home and getting them to work from home, that was easy. The difficult part now is how to bring them back and how to build the structures that we need to collaborate and innovate. So in that context, I wanted to ask you, do you see some cultural changes with the workforce? Because now your colleagues are not with you, or you want to have the colleagues with you? Or, I mean, are there changes about the environment and the culture?
So it definitely, with regards to a cultural perspective, there are slight changes in that employees are asking questions like, how do we skill up under these conditions from a COVID perspective, and how we enable the opportunity to skill up. So IBM has intentfully focused on giving employees back time so that they can grow skills. We called it initially like Think 40 hours, and basically it's an annual request for employees to educate themselves on different things. Could be like Kubernetes, could be associated with microservices, associated with the cloud environment, could be artificial intelligence tools. So basically there is a solid set of learning, and the goal is that as a leader within IBM, our senior leadership has requested from us that we give employees back time so that they can skill up. So right now, our key focus is all about like skilling up. And so we're seeing like employees like blow the 40 hours out of the water. We're talking like, could be like 500 hours of learning time in which they're ensuring that they skill up on different technologies, innovations, and industries. So I would say the biggest change, based on your question, Paulo, is this motivation to skill up. And I personally love it because I suffer from this paranoia of being obsolete. And to fight against that obsolescence, I consistently train up. And what's my point of motivation? I'll actually show it to you just because it's just so funny. Diskettes, they're no longer relevant. And by the way, the top diskette that was built by Sony is Computer Science 318. And so it serves as a reminder to me that I don't want to be like some of this technology that is no longer relevant. And so me as a human, I want to skill up so I can sustain this relevance in the marketplace and what I'm doing worldwide. So I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, it does make sense. And in a sense, you anticipated my next question, which was, I think that the culture that you're telling me about is this constant need to learn and level up, and how people get into that. So that leads up to this concept of lifelong learning. And I think that's, everybody's talking about that, but I think that that's brought about by everything that's going on, right? The rapid changes, I think you characterize it so well, that the fear to become obsolete, right? And as a university, I think a lot about that. What should we be teaching our students? And that idea of learning how to learn and pursuing this lifelong learning kind of objective. And I'm glad to hear that this is how you see things. Now related to that, you can accumulate all these different skills and go into machine learning and deep learning and AI and maybe something else. For someone to be successful in a management executive career, you need more than just skills, right? So what do you think, what would be the advice you would give to your younger self graduating from an MBA program? What should they worry about in addition to the skills?
It's interesting you say that too, because I just recently had a discussion with my 10-year-old. I was like, I never thought that I would be building out systems that actually support zettabytes of data. I was like, that's way too many zeros. So I keep thinking, it's like, okay, well, how do I go about enabling this aspect of not only skilling up like what you were just suggesting, but also ensuring I have the right skills? So from a leadership perspective, the advice I would give myself is that you're going to live in a time where there's this thing called digital Darwinism, where it's an era where technology and society evolve faster than the business can naturally adapt. And for me, I guess I could be, at first I was somewhat paralyzed in that thought because I was concerned that we're not going to be able to move fast enough. But then I started to think about turning it on its head. It's opportunity. It's a significant opportunity to do like things that we've never done before for businesses to be relevant. And instead of us like taking a stroll or walk in a business process approach, honestly, maybe we should pick up the pace and we should start running, just like people are choosing to run based on Moore's Law and some of the technology influences. So what's amazing about that to me is like this idea that I'd love to tell my young self, it's like you will live in this world of digital Darwinism. I never thought that that was possible. Just like I never thought in my life when I was in some of my MIS or COM Sci classes that I'd be working on devices that are supporting zettabytes of data. It's like I'm opening up my eyes and seeing an opportunity that we have to transform fast. And it's not possible to be slow. So that's something that I would give my own self advice on is buckle up, you're gonna have to run.
Fascinating. So it's I mean, I'd love to have our students hear that, right? And I think that this is great, a great insight. I mean, you have to be open-minded and embrace the challenges, and know that things will continue to change, right? That there is no kind of almost like there's no finish line here, right? To just keep going with the speed that you can gather. I'd like you to reflect a little bit about, I mean, the other day I was having a conversation like this and people say, oh, in addition to the skills and getting to know things, you need the human capabilities, right? The teamwork, communication, some level of empathy or some kind of abstract thinking. So how do you see these human capabilities and how they relate to the skills and what is the total package that you need?
No, I'm with you. I would say that upon my, like reflecting on my 20 years with IBM, soft skills are key. Like being able to collaborate, to team, to ensure that there's continuity, I'm gonna borrow your word, empathy. Like, and honestly, Paulo, I know this is not nice. I don't think I was truly an empathetic software engineer until I had my daughter, because it put me in a situation where I thought it's like, hey, I want to think of myself in this little person's shoes. How do they feel? So that they feel supported, etc. And then I started to think about, like, in recent years, that maybe I should have been doing that all along. That I should always be thinking about other people's shoes, seeing things, situations, collaboration. And so I just recently told my team it's all about the speed of trust, like how to enable like a trusted place where people feel like they can fail quickly, they can succeed quickly, that all and everything in between. So I would say that that would be like the key aspect is, and the component of all soft skills is all about trust.
Yeah.
How do you build trust and think about things empathetically for the benefit of the collective team? And I've led thousands of people. Like, how do you mobilize them? You've got to deliver like XYZ product, and we've got to understand cultural norms in their various locations in all those different cultures. And so I've got to see it from their vantage point or ask them, well, what do you think of this? And take the time to do so. So no different than hashtag IBM saying we've got to give think time back to the employees. We've got to also make sure that we are empathetic as we really explore and recognize having a growth mindset, so that, you know, we want to be greater human beings and evolve to a point of goodness.
That's awesome. That's how we conquer the digital Darwinism, right? That's the combination of all these things. So, Colleen, this has been wonderful. I really enjoy kind of interacting and talking to you, because you always bring so many insights to the conversation.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you.